We are going to jump into this. Right before we go, if I could just make a quick spiel myself.
Of course.
So I'm actually running a charity stream this month on my YouTube channel. So MTG Joe on YouTube. Every penny I make on YouTube this month, and I'm like Mr. Beast levels, so I'm making millions. I'm donating to small villages across. But every penny that I make on YouTube this month, I'm donating the entire YouTube revenue for the month of April to local Toronto-based food banks. I'm from Toronto. So try to help out those in my community, those less fortunate, those who are hungry. The economy's garbage right now, and a lot of people are, struggling to keep food on the table. So if you enjoy Magic, you like watching Magic, you like meta, some folks are just running my videos in the back, like whatever, just help me get money from Google to help feed the hungry. So just, it's a cool way to help out indirectly, just consuming content. Costs you nothing, but I'm trying as much as possible to give back to my local community and help out those in need.
That's amazing. I mean, and yeah, for the low price of having a browser open with the videos playing, there's no reason not to. But also while you're there, definitely, I mean, I'm a YouTuber too, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give the spiel, even if you're not going to. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit that like as well, because not only does that, let Joe know that you like what he's doing, which, I mean, you should. It's good stuff. But it also helps feed the algorithm so that YouTube knows to show that content to other people who might be interested. So, yeah, so definitely do that while you're there, because it does make a difference. All right. So
what we got on the screen is just Thoughtseizes going back and forth.
Yeah.
We have broken combo versus broken combo.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is creativity versus Greasefang. Who gets to pop off and outvalue the other first? And yeah, it was just duresses and it was just duresses and Thoughtseizes back and forth. Just each player just stripping the hand of the opponent.
But Ham, you're like, where are these is it lines? But no. See, we have this Rakdos version that's actually been picking up popularity for Pioneer. So uses things like Rotten Reunion, Omnixless as ways to make tokens. Look at that. Just Thoughtseize.
Oh my goodness.
No player will have cards.
Nope.
So I'm actually curious with this variant. Some of these versions can cast naturally, others can't. So we'll see the Volcanic Spike likely tuck away this Atraxa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and looking at the Dark Streams list,
there is 2 Life of Tashiros. Oh,
that Indomitable Creativity off the top was the perfect draw. They just tucked Atraxa away, creativity into Atraxa, reload the hand, you're set up ready to go. That was, bleeding in the heart of the cards.
Any better for Chris's side, at least? There's only 1 Volcanic Spike in this list, and it came up in the most clutch way possible.
Oh my goodness. And now they can't stay away, which you want to use to reanimate Greasefang is going to be bringing out the Rafine's Informant. Yeah, and looking at Dark Stream's list, yeah, there's no way to naturally cast Atraxa, so what they just did was exactly what they
Fable tokens.
And now Liliana can downtick.
Kind of enables.
Yeah, Liliana could downtick, but I think the discard here is much stronger because it was in fact Greasefang in Chris's hand. Holy cow! Liliana stripping that was huge. Oh my goodness!
So there's the backdoor way as well in this deck to reanimate Atraxa. You have Liliana's Death Majesty, which has the coolest secret lair art that I can never find in stock. It's the horror movie poster version of the art.
Nice.
So Liliana Death Majesty's minus allows you to reanimate. So we see Lily of the Veil coming out. You don't really want to discard cards from your opponent's deck. We see Life of Toshiro and Obby Boy come out. Some more removal spells come in. Nico Blanks come in. The Rending Volleys, 1 mana answers, just cheap interaction. Nice kind of screen view here of the deck.
Mm-hmm. Also, I have to say,
the one kind of. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. I appreciated Liliana the Veil coming out in the sideboard, even though she was like the nail in the coffin in the last game that made sure that Greasefang didn't see the field. Not that, I mean, Darkstream had that game anyway because of Atraxa, but still, it was very, very good in that situation. But he knew full well, like, Lily is not good in this matchup. And so even though it was good in that game, just the discipline of still pulling it out, I think is, yeah, I just wanted to call that out. I think that was really smart.
Yeah, so there's kind of pros and cons between this Rakdos version and the Izzet. The Izzet version, we saw its ability to just transform into Izzet control. You know, you could hardcast Shark Typhoon, you can cycle it, you have access to counters to interact on the stack. This Rakdos version does allow you to have hand hate. It does allow you to have like actual removal, like things that say kill, as opposed to situational, it can only deal 3 damage. And it does have powerful planeswalkers, which you don't get in the Izzet version. There is the competitor in the top 8 that's actually playing a single copy of Ral Izzet Viceroy, the 5-mana Ral from our Ravnica Legions or whatever it was. The middle Ravnica, third Ravnica, the Niv Mizzet Ravnica.
Yes, the Guilds of Return to City of. Yeah, it's one of those. So the turn
So if Chris is a professional Greasefang player, this will be a... Oh, no, that should have been Parhelion in the yard.
Sure should have been. That's exactly... I have a feeling Chris would agree with you that should have been Parhelion in the yard. Ouch. So, yeah, Chris's hand is loaded.
Flip's a little risky there.
Wow. Okay.
Because if they do target a treasure, you can... Maybe it's not as relevant in this version because it's mostly creature tokens. But again, the Izzet version, they do generally make artifacts. So a way you could disrupt the combo is blow up the artifact with Beseju. Can't be countered. Hits them with the channel. Fizzles the ability there.
Yeah.
This version is using like Rod and Reunion. Which, like, Rod and Reunion seems great for this matchup. Oh, here, I take out your Parhelion and I untap combo. Here's my 7/7.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
And we see Dark here opting to go Fatal Push over the Volley. Volley being able to hit Greasefang for 1 mana without Revolt.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, the running volleys are definitely
no lands,
stronger.
All gas.
Ooh, they're the Sky Sovereigns. Okay. So now Chris is definitely wanting to throw Greasefang if it's here. Maybe it's not. Or maybe they can smell removal and didn't want to risk it. And there's the Parhelion. Okay.
So we got all the answers. There's
well, Chris's deck went from being
just...
in a really bad position to being in a pretty solid one pretty quickly. Vessel of Nascency.
So we'll see the setup for next turn. This is where Vessel is really nice, allowing you to dig some additional cards to try to find that Greasefang.
And Darkstream is really wishing some lands would show up and say hi, but alas, here we are.
You gotta take that Lily. That Lily's devastating.
Absolutely.
I'm actually surprised they didn't force Lily there.
Yeah, I suppose they could have.
Your opponent's stuck on lands, just start attacking its hand.
But yeah, so Greasefang right into the Rending Volley. Darkstream is locked and loaded. Just give me priority. Come on, give me priority. Yep, there it is. Now Chris is hoping to find either another copy of Greasefang. Oh, Haunted Ridge. That's what Darkstream wanted to see. Another copy of Greasefang or I Can't Stay Away would be huge here.
How many copies of Can't Stay?
It's a fine question.
2. Chariot's actually pretty solid. This presents 3 bodies.
Yep.
Go for the throat. Notably cannot hit the Chariot.
Yep.
And we're going to see that get cycled. All those lands.
Yeah, in this matchup, Rending Volley is nothing short of excellent. So yeah, I can appreciate wanting to hold on to that.
So we do have Atraxa next turn. So Fable can, Fable's effectively 2 targets. Now the Reflection can be used. opponent top decks, and then we see the Grease Boy.
You have to pop Greasefang here, otherwise
It's mattered.
Parhelion back, but it can still crew the Chariot, so wasn't
still right though.
Yeah,
you could technically hit the Parhelion with the volley. No, volley's only 4 for Ice 5.
Right.
I take it back.
That's definitely a fun idea, but even then,
sorry. Coffee delivery.
Oh, excellent. All right. Yeah, Darkstream tapping the Mutavault. That way, if Atraxa does draw into, a Rending Volley or something of the like, or a Fatal Push, they'll have the option. Ooh, Go Blank is fantastic here. You'll love to see it.
Speaking of the volley.
Yep. There it is.
The Fably.
Excellent. Cool. So now,
don't you hate when your 7/7 lifelink vigilance death toucher flying only draws you 4 cards?
I know. Yeah. It's funny because that's the wild thing for Atraxa. That was a kind of a lame hit, which is bananas. But here we are.
When you're just like, oh man, I only drew 3 cards and have a 7/7.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's a very a surreal moment, and that's one that I've had with Atraxa too. It's like, oh, I got Atraxa. Oh, I only got 3 cards. It's like, dude, you put the biggest creature on board that is going to win you this game, probably single-handedly, and you drew 3 cards off it. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, this is great. And actually, that Beside coming out here,
industry,
that Beside means that Darkstream is going to be able to cast Fable and still have Rending Volley up, which is pretty fantastic.
Thanks for the ramp.
Yeah, thanks for the ramp. And now Atraxa just does Atraxa things after blowing up that graveyard. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, and Darkstream was already up 1 game. I'll be surprised if they don't walk away with this one. Okay. Shieldred's great here.
So there's actually no answer to Shieldred in this deck. Or to Atraxa.
Right, yeah.
There's a Ray of Enfeeblement, 2 Fatal Pushes, 3 Lilianas, but that token is really insulating against that. So Chris had a valiant effort today, but I think this Atraxa card might be a thing.
I think I think they're all right. Yeah, Atraxa seems pretty. I mean, it seems all right. And there's even a bit of reunion up too. So even if Chris does find a way to get a vehicle into the graveyard, it's just not going to matter. Yeah, nothing in the graveyard. It looks like Darkstream was checking to see if they had discarded an Atraxa. The previous game they had, but not this one. Because, if you could just throw Liliana Death's Majesty and reanimate another Atraxa, draw another 3 or 4 cards, or 5 or 6, it feels pretty good.
They're going to have to settle for Fable the Mirror Breaker.
Oh, I mean, okay.
2 reaction spells up.
Holy cow. Yeah. This is wild.
This is the classic Thoughtseize concede.
Yep, I think that's exactly what we're about to see. Yeah, so they stripped the Planeswalker, but just without an answer to Atraxa.
The vigilance has got to be the most egregious thing, right? This Atraxa, I know it's an ode to the. Everything looks nice and smooth on the front end, but it is as always, as smooth as things run. There's always chaos on the back end, and they do a great job of making sure the lights stay on. We have Hollywood yelling instructions to Ham and I. We take breaks, taking time to just let out a little cry every now and then.
I mean, it happens. It is what it is. But we do it to put on a good show, everyone. So we do our best. Yeah. But so it definitely huge shout out to everyone.
The worst part is I keep calling pizza, and I want pizza now.
Mm-hmm. It's actually not uncommon for me to prioritize actually picking up a pizza on weekends when I know we have a tournament. So yeah, that is not uncommon.
I made tacos today.
Ooh, there you go.
All right. We are pivoting. So we had someone had to go, someone had to use the washroom, but Rakdos Atraxa so Rakdos Atraxa did concede to
the mono green list. So
mono green.
Yep. All right.
So we have mono green in the finals. Can Mob Boss, the second mono green list, make it an all green Llanowar Elf tribal finale? Great start from this Izzet deck. We got Atraxa. We might see hardcast Atraxa this turn.
Ooh, I suppose we could, couldn't we? Yeah, the joy.
You said it couldn't be done.
I mean, but Fable the Mirror Breaker card is wild. It enables a lot. Yeah. All right.
So,
and in this
noting
case,
for clarity's sakes, I know we are speaking to two different mono green lists. For clarity, this is the Vorinclex Gemraiser Silverback Elder, no Ugin the Spirit Dragon in this particular list. The sideboard in this deck is 15 cards that can be tutored with Karn and nothing else. And we got Lanny. Llanowar just kind of hanging out here.
All right. So here we are.
So if we do want to kind of shill, if you were interested in seeing that Rakdos Atraxa list, we couldn't snag it in time for coverage, but behind the scenes, we were able to capture some of it. So tomorrow, Hollywood on his YouTube, if you're not following Hollywood on YouTube, check it out. We'll be dropping the full top 8 coverage, curated, truncated, covers as much of the matches that go in between. So we try to get as much coverage as possible. We get that included. And then it'll be up on the YouTube. So you can catch it tomorrow as well.
Definitely. Plug. All right. Yeah, so Nelson here, looking at how they're going to tap their mana. They have the Cascading Cataracts, so it looks like they're prioritizing their treasure. Okay.
All right. It's happening.
Here we are. Yeah, they wanted to keep the 2 mana open for the Make Disappear. That makes sense. But here comes Atraxa.
All right. What's the draw count? I'm saying 3. It's going to be a bad Atraxa flip. Only 3.
I'm guessing 4. What do we got? We got a Negate there. Mutavault there. Oh, you know what? You're correct. And the creativity. So an instant sorcery and a land. 3 it is.
All right. We had hardcast Atraxa. Are we getting hardcast Shark?
Ooh. I mean, that's the dream, right? Hardcast Atraxa followed up by hardcasting Shark type.
All right. In chat.
I mean,
if you want hardcast Shark, let him. Oh, okay, too late.
Yeah, my boss is.
You gotta let him know sooner. Chat. Spam the Sharks. Look at Ral there. Ral just like, we want the Shark.
Yeah. Does so excited. Sharks. Yes. All right. Yeah. So I mean, I definitely appreciate Mabos seeing that battlefield.
We had a Negate come in.
Yeah. Atraxa was there with Counterspell backup. I mean, yeah, Mabos knew full well there's nothing they could do. So scoop it up, move on to the next one. Yeah, because when one of your main win cons is to get a Karn the Great Creator down and you know your opponent has 2 mana open and a Negate in hand, you know, there's really not much more point in continuing. And that's just the power of Atraxa.
At this point, too, the competitors are 8 hours in. This is like the 10th round of Magic. Some of these games have gone quite long, so...
Indeed.
7. Let's go to the next one. If not, then dinner. Bathroom.
Yes. You know, exactly. You get to the point where it's like, you know what? I need to to call it a night here, and that's okay. It happens. Yeah. All right. So here we go. I mean, so in this situation, I can imagine the Akroan Wars could be good. You know, if they were to get a Polukranos down or something of that nature, but otherwise, what do you slide in here? So they're going to pull Ral. They're one of Ral. He's apparently not quite doing enough. And the Volcanic Spike is going to be going down to 3 instead of 4. Which, fair enough. Sorry, I keep saying Volcanic Spike. It's actually Volcanic Spite. I apologize. Still a relatively new card.
Spite or Spite? Yeah.
It's Spite, which
We're learning together. It's also...
I know, right? Yeah, I could have swore it was Spike, but nope. It's a little more poetic. It's the spite of the volcano. Because clearly...
it's Sprite's newest flavor. It's lemon, lime, fiery habanero.
Oh, man. You know, that sounds truly disgusting, but if I was offered one at some point, I'd try it. Yeah.
All right. So turn 4 Atraxa coming down?
Possibly,
Great
yeah.
hand. Impulse.
That's exactly what this hand says. Ooh, and Mob Boss on green.
So it's going to be a race of Stone Brain.
Yeah, Llanowar Elf, possibly the best turn 1. Into Kiora. All right. So now Spirable Canal is going to come down for Nelson. They're just going to hold Impulse up and fake the counter. Ooh, Kiora into another Llanowar Elf. Wow, we're going to see a Cavalier here, or is it Karn time? Who knows? Nykthos. Wow. The hits just keep on coming.
So it's a great start. It's just, do they have that next card? Is it a Storm Festival, Karn, or Cavalier? Because sometimes what happens is you get these great starts and you're like, well, now I just have all the mana in the world, but nothing to do with it. There's a lot of enablers. Kiora is just great in this deck. Ramping you, being the shenanigans with the Nykthos, but also drawing you cards.
Oh, yeah. No, she's like, yeah, it's shocking how well positioned she is. There it is. Okay, so there's the Karn. And it looks like Mob Boss kind of holding the breath a little bit against a counterspell that we know Nelson doesn't have. So here's the down tick. And they have all the mana in the world here, so what do you grab?
What they get here. So you do want to get Stone Brain, which they do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you cast it this turn. You don't necessarily want to leave out a Naked. And well played there, playing around the counter, using Kiora proactively to tap and tap to make sure you had the Make Disappear mana available. Right. So we see Impulse here.
Yeah, and Impulse does find a Make Disappear, which at this point in this matchup is pretty lackluster. You know, because what's 2 mana at this point? So just grab the Sokanzan. Just rip a Fable. So racing the Stone Brain, but you know it's coming this turn. Yeah, so if I'm Mob Boss...
It's actually quite interesting here. Do you pop it right away? Do you just hold up the mana? Because you could always respond.
True.
Even if they go for creativity, you can just... Oh, is it? I take it back.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize.
If you're going to read the cards and play by the rules...
Well, that's fair, yeah. But I mean, and where's the fun in that? All right.
I can't instant speed my Thoughtseize.
All right. Well, and this is really unfortunate.
Throwing out Stone Brain here.
Yeah, they got Stone Brain out, but
this game's pretty much...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying it's like pretty much theirs to lose. And this deck is running 3 Prismari commands. So just throwing out the Stone Brain there is very risky. If they don't have it. And they weren't punished, but really just kind of exposing there.
True, because yeah, Prismari Command here would have been amazing. And alas. So they
It'll
have
be
another. I
interesting
mean,
to see if. Sorry, go ahead.
no, they have two more. Yeah, they have two more Fables, and the Sokenzan. So they have the means by which to produce a couple more tokens here. They could even attack in on Karn to lower its loyalty with the Sokenzan tokens if they wanted to, or the Mutavault here as well, which it looks like they're going to do.
That's actually a really clean line. Karn's plus ability can animate the boat, so there's no crew cost required.
Oh, sure. And it would be a 5/5 at that point, so great. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the plan is here if this does go to game 3. Knowing that they have the access to the Stone Brain. Even in this game, like it was a good start, but just the Karn coming in, kind of screwing up the plan. If they do opt to either trim Atraxa, play the Hullbreaker Horse, or just go, they have the ability to just go full control. They have commenced the endgame as an instant speed threat. But
Okay.
pretty formidable at this point. Draw some cards.
Yeah, Cavalier gets a land, draws a card, does all the things. And that can also crew the Sky Sovereign now, so they can start. Oh, and Palooka knows. Now, notably, Mob Boss not hitting the Stone Brain here. So it's still here, but it's not active yet. And the Fable is going to flip next turn. So Nelson is going to have a creature that they can target with the creativity. I think Nelson dodged a bullet here.
Oh, this is a very aggressive, like, again, I think it was theirs to lose, and this might cost them.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not over yet. And if any deck can kind of outvalue and attracts on the field, it's mono green. But even so, I mean, the deck wants to win through combat damage. And as we were saying with the Atraxa, that's really hard to do. So, yeah.
I could see maybe doing this if you did have access to an active Karn. Like with the setup, you set up, your portal to Phyrexia, your transmogrifying wand, something of that nature. But like Boat doesn't do it.
No. Yeah, so Nelson had a window there, and they definitely took advantage.
I think you take out Kiara here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, but Fiery Impulse does not Lightning Bolt.
Oh no!
It's funny actually seeing all these cards from like 4 or 5 years ago when the design just did not include like Planeswalkers. Like pre-War of the Spark, we've seen such a surplus where sets used to offer maybe 1 or 2 Planeswalkers. And we had War of the Sparks where it's like your basic line is a Planeswalker.
Yep. Well, and I think you're exactly right. Like after War of the Spark, we definitely saw a rise in burn spells or kill spells that could target creatures or planeswalkers. Because they realized like, oh, we can have a burn spell for 2 mana that can deal, I don't know, 4 damage, as long as it doesn't go face. That's okay. So it's basically just red removal at that point. And yeah, let it hit planeswalkers too. Like you see a lot of that. With newer burn spells that you didn't in the past. And yeah, Fiery Impulse here originally printed in Magic Origins, which is definitely predates that philosophy. Yeah, deals 2 damage.
Got a Praetor
or 3. Oh my goodness. All right, Klex is online, and they have the mana to flip it.
Flip it. Only 17 mana for this Nykthos. This is bargain bin Nykthos.
Is that really worth it? I mean,
no, I don't care about Palookanos.
Yeah, I mean, they can flip Palookanos here. They can flip Vorinclex. They have a lot of options here all of a sudden. I mean, they can even use Vorinclex to crew the boat, and then if I'm not mistaken, still flip it. Or am I misremembering? Is that a tap ability?
Tribute to the World Tree. We're flipping.
There it is. Let's go.
So the counters can build your own Atraxa with Pelucranos. Finds the Storm the Festival.
Wow.
Silverback Elder and it's funny because all these things are like so many things with reach, and it's still smaller than Atraxa. And the Death Touch, like you said, you can't even if you multi-block, doesn't matter.
I mean, the Cavaliers do have that cool death trigger, so you're not super mad if they go, but still, yeah. And also, huge thank you. I know there's a little bit of a delay, nice. But John Bankier, thank you for that raid. We appreciate it very, very much. Welcome, Raiders. This is the PizzaBox Open Explorer. We love Raiders around here. Yeah, y'all are the best. Yeah, so this is the top 8. This is actually the semifinals. We're in the top 4. And so either this mono green list or this Is It creativity list is going to be moving on. And I got to say, the mono green list is definitely making a statement. And so Wormcoil, Pelucranos just popped off, did his thing because of the tribute to the World Tree, and both of those tokens entering with 3 power apiece. They just drew 2 fresh cards because their biggest creature died, which is wild.
All right. So I went to Nelson and I slipped in a River's Rebuke into his deck just to give him a turn.
That's, I mean,
that's what we got some trash talking in a language that I can't understand.
Oh, that's the best kind of trash talking, let's be honest.
Actually, that might just be Atraxa Grand Unifier.
Oh, no, probably.
I think it named the card.
Yeah, the Stone Brain was.
So I would actually concede here. Like, you're dead without letting them see what your sideboard configuration was. So it'll be interesting, like I said. Do you make the switch now?
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
I actually think Hullbreaker might be better in this matchup. Like, as crazy as it sounds, you don't get the card advantage, but bouncing in this deck, they can't really kill Hullbreaker.
Right. Yeah, it looks like Nelson is. Yeah, they wanted to see that draw, I guess. And Steam Vents, it's a good card, but yeah, most certainly cannot answer.
So Mob Boss was just playing with our emotions there. Just did not want a Stone Brain. Could have made they wanted, you know what? They were like, this game is too easy right now. I want to flip Vorinclex for the content. Exactly. You know what? We like the content keeps here.
We do. We do.
We see that tracks are being hovered.
Yep. Yeah, the Stone Brain ripping early would have definitely, you know, taken a huge advantage away from Nelson. But like, I'm with you. It feels almost like Mob Boss wanted to show us, like, nah, Atraxa can come down. It doesn't matter. I still got this. You know, it's kind of that moment when the boxer like goes into the middle of the ring, like teed up, and like puts their hands down. And is like, go ahead and give me one. You know, like, yeah, no, I'm gonna let you have this, and I'm still gonna take you down. Yeah, it had that energy, and it was impressive. That said, they used their mana very efficiently in all those turns that they didn't Stone Brain. It's not like they left it open and missed it. You know, they prioritized establishing their own board first, and because they were able to do that, they had some bonkers turns with you know, in the end there where we saw with the tribute to the World Tree drawing them cards, and they were able to just go off. You know, Silverback Elder coming out too. I mean, yeah, the devotion was at 20 in the end here. My goodness. Yeah, when you have a single land
that actually for 8 mana that
you can untap. Yeah.
It was 23. So we are seeing a copy of Hullbreaker Horn. So they're differentiating their threats. So it'll be interesting because like this does help against the Stone Brain element. But creativity for one could potentially, when you want Atraxa, lead you. You got a 66% chance. But if you creativity for 2, you might hit double Atraxa, which is not the best use because unlike the Rakdos version can reanimate, this version cannot. Seeing Make Disappear, Make Disappear is probably the most like polar opposite. Either it's going to be amazing or you're going to be like, my opponent has 23 mana on turn 5.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. In so many games, you know, that style of soft counter where it just taxes your opponent, we know that, yeah, cards like Mana Leak and Quench are really good in the early game, but in the late game, they become significantly less good because the chance of them hitting is just reduced. It just is. But against this green deck, that is just cranked up to 11. Because if they get to turn 4, there's a decent chance they're going to be able to pay that no problem. But here we have the Spikefield Hazard coming down on the Elvish
It's actually
Mystic.
a really good hand.
You'll love to see it. And now they have the Make Disappear.
Proactive elements, reactive. Opponent does nothing.
Yeah, they have the Spite and the Impulse. And the Make Disappear, no matter what Mobbots did. And they just drew the Spirebluff Canal, and the last turn would come in untapped. Also excellent.
Yeah. So while they can stick like a 3-drop here, 4 power, 4 mana is usually the scary point. Like you don't want them to get Karn down.
Definitely.
Cure is frightening, but Cure is more of a sum of her parts. Like a naked Cure is not the end of the world. A Karn is just going to go find you that Stone Brain.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So they do have the Kiora, but nothing to spend that mana on, so they're just going to let it be. And so now if you're Nelson, they're in an interesting position where there's this... they choose not to. So they had an opportunity to discard Atraxa there, because what are the chances that Atraxa is going to be any good in hand? Well, if this Goblin Shaman can attack 2 more times, Atraxa is exactly what you want to need, or what you want to have. And now that they have the mana open with the Spite in hand and the Make Disappear, there's a really good chance. So that's Wolfwillow Haven coming down. Yeah, I think you need to counter this.
Yeah, so this is like...
Yeah.
I think this is a good counter, because your shelf life is pretty low on that, and this really stifles their turn. Because if we look at it, they would have tapped and tapped. That's now 4 mana for the land with Cure, without any devotion enablers, which really helps that.
Right. And there's also the other side of that is what's the likelihood? It looks like they could have played the Steam Vents there and they chose not to. Did I see that correctly? All right, here comes Polukranos.
No, it would have been... They were on the play. It's turn 4. That's their 4th land.
Then don't mind me.
The above player.
All right. So they come in. Does Mob choose to block here?
Interesting that they... I guess they're going to trade with the Volcanic here. Entice the block. Impulse is really good here. Just continuing the gas. It's a little iffy. Like, I don't know if I would have thrown away the other Goblin token, like the real copy, because...
well, now all of a sudden,
Never mind.
have the treasure, and they can... Wow, that was a killer draw off that Impulse. Yeah, creativity into the Hullbreaker. Which, at that point, being down to 1 card, Atraxa probably would have been preferable, but it still feels good to have a Hullbreaker here.
We grab core time.
Absolutely. Yeah, Nelson has done a really good job this game of producing enough of a disruption to Mob Boss's plan so that they just couldn't quite set up. You know, they Lava Spiked the Elvish Mystic. They countered the Wolfwillow Haven. They were able to take out Kiora. And here comes Karn, who, can dive into the sideboard and go grab something. But at this point...
Worth noting, as we see here, the crab can be copied. It is non-legendary. It seems like one of those weird things that oddly would be. Like Crabicus, the legendary crab.
You would think, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Prawn, the breaker of hulls. Yeah, you would think, but no, it's... But yeah, so Mob Boss dug into the sideboard there with the Karn's down tick and grabbed a transmogrifying wand. And so that is an artifact for 3. Enters the battlefield with 3 charge counters on it. You can pay 1 tap, remove a charge counter from it to destroy target creature, and its controller creates a 2/4 white Ox creature token, and you can only activate it as a sorcery. So that has an opportunity to transform the Hullbreaker, but not really in this case because of that negate. And with the reflection, that's 14 damage here. So yeah, it turns out the Hullbreaker Horror, pretty good.
Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book stores got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey.
This video is brought to you by MagicJank.com, the spiciest cards for your sauciest decks. Buy and sell Magic the Gathering products and gear today on MagicJank.com.
Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you.
And if it's successful, it's definitely planned to be a regular event moving forward. Ooh, and Darth Zero here with the Snap Keep, Wolf Willow Haven, Nykthos, Storm the Festival, and Ugin in the opening hand. So, all right, here we go. But yes,
I'm
so
excited
yeah,
that Hollywood's flying us all the way to Hawaii for this.
That would be fantastic, not gonna lie. All right. So we're leading off with the Forest. So Darth Zero probably hoping to draw into, some more castables in these early turns. Although Wolf Willow Haven does help get you to the Cavalier. Well, they're not missing their land drop, so that's nice. I suppose on the play, a turn 4 Cavalier is not bad. Although I'll be absolutely shocked if Nelson doesn't have some kind of answer to that.
All right.
Yeah, it makes this
I have the luxury of doing picture in picture.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to tell you what's in. So Nelson's hand currently is a negate, Shark Typhoon, Atraxa, Creativity, 4th land, Creativity.
Oh wow!
So we get a tap out here, and we got an Atraxa turn 4 coming down.
Holy cow! All right. Yeah, the Cavalier of Thorns on turn 4 looks pretty good, especially with Nykthos in hand. Granted, at this point, Darth Zero has 2 Nykthos in hand, which is not ideal. But they're going to be able to Nykthos into Ugin or Festival pretty comfortably. But when your opponent drops turn 4 Atraxa, that might...
What could be done is Ugin plus for the turn, block with the Cavalier because of reach, and then Ugin -7 to clean things up. Ugin does have enough loyalty. Interesting, no attack there for the treasure. Would think that would be... Well, I guess doesn't... Well, if you attack, then you lose it, so you have to use the treasure. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's been a long day for all of us here.
No worries. Yeah, exactly. The net result would have been identical. So just don't even... Save yourself the clicks and just throw it down.
Only 2 cards drawn. So notable, I think this version of the deck, how many Atraxas is it playing? So this version of the deck is only playing 2 Atraxas. The other Atraxa is in hand right now. There's a Volcanic Spite. So we'll see if Ugin minus is here. This might just be a 1-for-1. I do think the plus is probably advantageous here.
Yeah, I can see the plus, because then, yeah, next turn you could down tick
the risk here.
Yeah.
So we know, like, through the power of technology, there is a creativity. You can creativity their Cavalier. Take a chance they don't get a reach creature. There's 8 elves. Right. And then attack Ugin. There is 3 more Cavaliers and 3 Pelucranos. All have reach. Yep. So you can spin the wheel a bit.
But here comes the down tick.
But
Ugin is just gonna clean it all up. And Dark Zero does have Storm the Festival and Old Growth Troll in hand, so they're gonna be able to rebuild okay.
all right, well, we might be seeing it. Chat. 5th land is in hand. There's a Shark Typhoon. Are we going to see the hard cast Shark? Let us know, chat, if you want Sharks to be casted.
Oh, who doesn't want Sharks to be casted? But you said there was another creativity in Nelson's hand. So, and they have the Mutavault down at this point. So
there's only 2 Atraxas. One was just exiled, one's in hand. So they have to loot it with Volcanic Spike. There's not currently a target.
Right.
So Nelson's deciding. They do have the 5th land. It's a pathway, which we see. They do have access to Ral. Is it Viceroy? So deciding potentially using that, holding up the negates in interaction. And they're going Ral. And for those at home, because I haven't seen Ral in a hot minute. So let's pull up Ral here. Ral is a 5-mana planeswalker from a simpler time. 5 mana, 5 loyalty, +1. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put 1 in your hand, 1 into your graveyard. -3 deals damage to target creature equal to total instants or sorceries you own in exile and in your graveyard. And then you get an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target, and you draw 2 cards. I think it was a little loose here. I think I would have probably just kept up the interaction. We see a Cityscape Leveler get.
Yep. Yeah, Storm the Festival into Karn and OGT grabbing the Leveler. So now the Spite does have a really clean target with Karn here. But now they've also committed to Ral, so yeah, so I don't know. This will be interesting.
I think you're kind of forced to Spite here.
Yeah.
So of note, you're going to see the little eyeball go away. They do have access to 2 Spites in hand. And they did draw, I think it's Secrets to the City, the 1 mana make a clue token. Secrets of the Key.
Secrets of the Key. Yep.
Secrets of the City.
All good.
So can instant speed make, we'll see if Ral down ticks here on the troll.
I mean, at this point, do they have enough in their graveyard and exile for that downtick to take out the troll?
I think that's what they were just checking.
Got it. Well, I think they do now. Yep. Perfect.
So notably, this still counts as devotion while it's enchanted.
Right, because it doesn't transform or anything of that nature. It's still the front face of the troll on the land, which is wild. Yeah. So we have a fresh old growth troll. So that Nykthos now taps for 6.
And with Nick, it's just fine. It's basically a free 4/4 trampler.
Mm-hmm.
It pays for itself.
Well, and notably too,
you could see the Leveler come down.
Oh, the other thing of note is Dark Zero has another Nykthos in hand. So they could play it as their land for turn. And then activate it and net another 4 mana. Which looks like they choose to do.
So this is probably the route for Storm the Festival. There is a negate in hand.
Okay.
Nope. Thing's about to get leveled.
Yep. So you level the Planeswalker.
That is a new creativity target.
Yeah, I suppose, actually. Yeah. That is relevant. Especially now that Nelson just reloaded the Atraxa back into their deck with that Spite, presumably. All right.
The concern here is, so there is Prismari command. Because Atraxa is just going to die to this Cityscape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so for
What's
those
the last card in hand? Is it Visagia?
Zero's last card in hand is a Forest. so it's not gonna get anywhere.
Oh, okay.
And the debate there was there were 2 floating mana. Presumably Zero put it in there just in case of like a make a sphere or something of that nature. And they were debating on whether or not to use it to create the token from the old growth troll that's attached to that land. But in doing so, they would lose 3 devotion and the forest to get another body on board. And so it was a debate of like, okay, do I lose this mana and lose any value that I could have got out of it and lose out on a 4/4 on board? But instead, in the end, they chose to leave it where it was. All right, and here we have a fresh Karn. Now this puts Nelson in a tough spot because they kind of have to use interaction if they have it. So there's the negate.
So with creativity in hand, you could creativity the Colossus.
And Leveler destroying the
if I'm just
Power
recalling.
Stone token to make a Power Stone token. Okay. Might as well.
Now, unfortunately, the creativity is a destroy effect, not exile. So Unearth could still come back.
Ouch.
Cycle Shark.
The cycle the shark, yeah, the biggest against
Power
a 4/4
Stones could be used.
Yeah.
So you don't even want to block here.
I mean, you don't want to, but you have to. Yeah.
Oh, you're actually dead, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So going to take out OGT, but that Leveler. Yeah.
So is Leveler just the mirror, like this match breaker?
Possibly. And Zero even throwing the forest down. All the cards are on the table. They have another Storm of the Festival, so even if the Leveler gets answered, which, I mean, to your point, if it goes to the graveyard, they can just unearth it. So that's that. But otherwise, there's another Storm of the Festival coming.
In addition, we have... It's not even that. It's just the 2 old growth troll tokens.
Right. Yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
Mind you, that will take them off devotion.
True.
How much mana do they have? What's their Nykthos count?
It's currently 6, I believe. So
6.
yeah, here's Indomitable Creativity, sure.
So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So they have enough to unearth.
Yeah, and like Atrax is great here.
Prismari.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Does Nelson have the mana to cast Prismari Command? No. They only have the...
No, there's no Prismari in the pile either.
Oh, there isn't. Dang.
3 copies of Prismari.
Yeah, that would be
huge. You kind of want... So they did find an Otawara, but unfortunately they are a mana short.
Mm-hmm.
They have a mana floating had it been on the battlefield, but then they still get the cast trigger, like post main phase. So
right.
In this case, because it's an earth, when they unearth, if you bounce it back to the hand, does it go to exile or does it just reset?
It would go to exile. Yeah. Yeah, in that case, it would go to exile. The only time that you can get around Unearth is if you put it into exile with another effect. So if you use something like a Touch the Spirit Realm or an Ephemerate to exile it and then bring it back, it would come back. Because the Unearth replacement effect only checks, is this going to exile, yes or no? And if the answer is no,
okay,
then it replaces it. But if the answer is yes, then it'll let it go. But yes, no, so bounce against Unearth is excellent. The other ones that are great are just twiddle effects. Like if you can tap down an unearthed creature before attacks, that's brutal. But yeah, so at this point, yeah, an unearthed.
The Llanowar Elf just to. All right, this Leveler is here to rumble.
But they're gonna go for the Storm of the Festival instead.
Like that line?
I don't know.
You're giving him a chance.
Yeah.
They had the game wrapped up.
Yeah, it looks.
Because
It
now you
looked
give
all
them
over.
access to both Prismari command.
Now, to be fair, they just hit a Kiora on this Storm the Festival, which they could use to untap the Nykthos.
Never punished.
So yeah,
Never
never punished.
punished.
You know, they got a little extra, not just the one win. And on top of that, because the Old Growth Troll enters at the same time. Yeah, this should do
These
it.
mono green players today they don't want to take the easy wins. They are here for content first,
Oh yeah.
gameplay results second, and they are here to say, you know what, I registered 60 cards. I'm gonna look at 59 of them.
Yeah. I'm here to play my entire deck. 100%. And so now they're able to throw the leveler and even transform Pelucranos before attacks, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, but then draw a card off Kiora too, because why not? Drawing another Pelucranos just for good measure.
Well, now you can play your Pelucranos after you cast your first Pelucranos.
Yeah, you transform this one, and then you play the other one. Because why not?
It's just good value.
Oh, yeah. It's free real estate. I am wondering what Zero is seeing here, because this looks like this looks like a home run to me. I'm seeing
so
a lot of
frustrating,
time
probably just because they are hovering. You can't see here, but literally Nelson is holding up Otawara and just flinging it all around their screen because they are 1 mana short of basically winning this game.
Oh no! Yeah, because if the leveler could get bounced before attacks, that'd be amazing. And look at this. We even have one little 2 mana play to top it off here.
A little
Yeah,
showboaty here, but
if I'm
also
Nelson
like
here, I'd be kind of.
it could be concerned later in the game with the time. Like I could see hanging around here if they want to. Like you're gonna lose this game regardless.
Yeah.
Darth here probably wasted 2 minutes of clock time.
Yep. Yeah, there was definitely a couple minutes there that didn't look necessary to me. Granted, you and I knew that Nelson didn't have the necessary interaction in hand. Zero didn't necessarily know that. So I can appreciate to some degree maximizing value on board to ensure the win instead of possibly playing quickly into a trap. I do respect that. It makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, in these best of 3 matches, you do need to be cognizant of the clock. So we'll see. We'll see if that ends up being an issue here.
This is open deck list. On the ladder, you maybe do that just because you're playing around the unknown, but there is no 2 mana answer for what he was doing. Make the Spear didn't work, negate didn't work.
Right.
If it was 3 mana open, then you're playing around Prismari, then I could understand. But in that case, all right. Darth is a win away. Competitors geared up. I wasn't paying attention, unfortunately, and I didn't see if they brought in. I would imagine they did the same sideboard as last game, where they did bring in a copy of Hullbreaker Horror. Knowing that they have access to the Stone Brain, being a game behind, I think just being proactive there. We saw what it could do in that last game.
Yeah. Well, and interestingly enough, Darth Zero with this green list, I just assume because you have Karn, you don't really sideboard, but they are actually pulling in, some Sky Sovereigns. They took out one Kiora, and they pulled in, I'm not mistaken, the Sky, there was the Sky Sovereigns, and then they pulled in one leveler, or I believe they had 2 levelers in the deck now, whereas they only had
one's main, one side.
Yeah, one main, one side, but I believe they put 2 into the
so they just brought.
Wow, okay.
Well, the nice thing too is with both Cavalier and Storm, it both enables you to just mill over naturally and then unearth. So while you only get the one-time hit, generally speaking. So interesting. Shadow Spear, sideboard card coming in main.
Yep.
Not really a card you'd think would be super relevant.
Well, and also it's very interesting that Zero played out the Shadow Spear there because they have an Elvish Mystic in hand. and they didn't. That second forest that they just played, they top decked. So I'm a bit surprised. I can appreciate not wanting to run an Elvish Mystic out right into a burn spell, but when you're not confident you're going to hit your second land drop, that's interesting.
So composition of the hand right now is Negate, Creativity, 2 Prismari, and Volcanic Sprite, Lemon Lime. No other lands, so seeing the clue get flipped, drew into Otawara, drew a second Creativity. So hand is double Prismari, double Creativity. So likely setting up here for the treasure plus draw discard to try to find that additional land to set up here.
All right, so the Wolf Willow Haven comes down and resolves. Yeah, and Zero, you also noticed, didn't play anything last turn. They had a Wolf Willow Haven in hand and the Elvish Mystic, and they chose to hold them both because Nelson had all the mana in the world open. And so there being a burn spell or a counter spell was very likely. And so waiting until Nelson potentially tapped out on 3 for a Fable the Mirror Breaker and to then unload the hand, I'm guessing that was the line that they were aiming for. Oh, and here comes a Prismari command. Digging, creating the treasure token, not destroying Shadow Spear. Okay.
They have Creativity set up here. They need to hit the line drop. And it was good that they did because the order was Impulse Mutavault. So they would have missed their line drop otherwise. So here, unfortunately, it was Mutavault. So they are a red source short.
Ouch.
And they need the treasure here. While Mutavault does have a lot of utility in this list, it's probably negates. They do have access to Impulse, Fiery. So Fiery Impulse and Impulse. Just in case it was confusing enough.
That was quite it sounds like quite the impulsive hand, yes.
So it's worth pointing out what they could have done is activate the Mutavault with itself and then target the Mutavault as an option.
That would have worked.
Red lines were found.
Excellent.
So we do have access to 2 creativities here, should they want. Looks like they're just doing 1 here. And Crab Core. So Crab Core with Negate and Impulse.
Okay. Not a bad spot to be. And knowing that was, in fact, a Hullbreaker Horror, I have a feeling they really wish they had creativity for 2 there. Because, having the...
if they would have creativity for 2, it would have been 2 Atraxas.
I mean, it's generally how it goes, isn't it? And drawing a whole ton of cards is nice, but... Yeah, it's definitely a problem if Atraxa bites it, and you don't have another one in your deck ready to go. That's definitely a concern. All right, so it'll be really interesting to see how Zero sequences this. So they have 5 mana. They have the Cavalier, which they could easily throw, and they'd have the ability to tap Nykthos then for 8.
Any Karns or you said Cavalier was in hand?
There's a Cavalier, another Pelucranos, and a Karn.
Okay, so probably trying to bait out with.
Right, they're trying to bait interaction.
So there's access to Impulse and there's access to Negate.
Yeah, so if they use the Impulse here to push the Cavalier back to hand, then Karn is going to resolve. All right. Or the Cavalier is just going to resolve. There's mana for that as well.
Ooh, this was a hell of an Impulse. Negate, Ral, and Prismari.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, Zero seizing the opportunity.
Kind of think I would want Prismari here.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna see here actually is because you said they brought in both copies of Cityscape. They can't tutor for Cityscape, and Cityscape is a cast trigger, so it gets around the Hullbreaker Horror's bounce effect.
Oh, true, it
And with
does.
being so short on lands, they can't recast it even if they blink their own Hullbreaker. Because normally what we see in these types of decks is bounce the Hullbreaker and then just recast it. But here it's more about cheating it into play and trying to keep it on the battlefield.
Well, and of note, not only did they pull the Cityscapes into the main, but on the mulligan they tucked one on the bottom. So the chances of Cityscape Leveler coming off the top here are not great. Not impossible, of course. That's part of the joy of, these card games, but
Spikefield Hazard was the draw for turn, and this is a fantastic card.
yeah,
1 mana, get rid of the elf, get rid of both the blockers, attack the Karn. I still don't understand why Shadow Sphere was brought in.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either, because it's not like hexproof or
you're gonna lose or win this game. Yeah, and the life gain you're taking 7 at a time. You're either gonna be like behind or you're gonna be overwhelmingly winning. Devotion is 2
presently. Yep.
So
yeah, 1 on Kiora, 1 on the
board
Wolf Haven
is quite impactful. This deck's always deceiving because you see them generate like 20 mana, but it's very conditional on the board state.
Oh, yes.
You answer their board and they're basically neutered.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because right now, Nykthos, if you were to actually activate it, nets you 0. So it's funny because your devotion needs to be at least 3 for Nykthos to be able to net you positive, green mana. So here comes Wolf Haven coming down.
So I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't decide to double up on the same land. Like with Kiora this turn, you probably want that would net more mana than the Nykthos would. Because now they opt to tap it, but they don't get that value. They could have generated 6 mana off that land. They could activate Nykthos now. Draws them a card, potentially hits a land drop.
They do, yep.
Whoa.
All right, so this taps for 6. Looks like they're going to attempt to cast a Transmogrifying Wand, which is going to be promptly negated. Yep, and then Pelucranos, just pick it right back up. And the floating mana is just going to put Pelucranos back down. And then with that, Darth Zero did just
the bounce there. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think with that line, I would have probably preferred to just bounce like one of the Wolf Willows. You're giving them extra card draw each time.
Right. All right, here comes Ral. I mean, I have a feeling Kiora is going to be chowing down on some lobster here in a second. So Ral's going to be drawing a card. I mean, any Planeswalker that can draw a card on a plus, I mean, it's not bad, right?
Yeah. Similarly here, like I assume they have enough instants in the graveyard. I think that line again, you bounce the Wolf Willow and then use Ral's minus on the Pelucranos, because now you're dealing with 4 pips of devotion plus the land. You want to just neuter their ability to generate mana in this deck.
Yeah, and Zero just drew a forest, so they have 8 mana available this turn if they just play the land drop. So the leveler might be coming out here. We shall see. All right. Yeah, honestly, this is... Yeah, I mean, the Hullbreaker Horror is a powerhouse for sure, but... Yep, so the leveler's targeting the Hullbreaker. Nelson needs to find some way to bounce that back to their hand, and they don't have it.
So there is a deluge. Oh, creativity off the top, but probably too little too late.
Well, and the Ral did put an Trax into the graveyard. Do they still have one in the deck? That's the question. Oof.
Well, if it was the same configuration as last time, it was the 3.
Okay. So they might be able to, creativity that Power Stone into a Trax, and then downtick Ral to take out the Leveler. Then the Leveler unearths next turn and takes out a Traxa, which is a bummer, but you've just restocked your hand, so hopefully you found something else to work with there. But no, they're going to uptick Ral. Okay.
It's a tad risky, just given that if they hit the Atraxa off that, they lose.
Yeah.
Shark Typhoon was drawn.
Okay,
so they're opting to creativity both threats. Cityscape. I think after this, some folks need to go to magicjank.com and order themselves some Cityscape Leveler full art foils.
I'm glad to agree. Yes. All right. So creativity is going to spin into Atraxa and the Sky Sovereign. Okay. Guys, I'm going to knock a couple of loyalty off Ral there.
Okay. Disdainful Stroke is a very good card there. Unearth is a cast that can you
Unearth, I believe, is actually an activated ability.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not an alternative casting cost. So yeah, they won't be able to. Yeah, Disdainful Stroke isn't going to get him there.
So low-key, that was actually kind of huge, that boat hit, because if not, Ral was at 7. They would have blocked 2, chumped. Ral would have still survived that 1. Mm-hmm. Now Ral's dead. However, that does eliminate that threat. And what we could see is the hard cast Shark. We've been asking for it.
We have.
I have been good thus far. We've seen Atraxas, we've seen Crabs.
But the people demand
is a hard cast Shark.
The hard cast Shark, absolutely. I mean, that is that deck's plan B.
I can't see the chat right now, but I assume the chat with the 30,000 live viewers are just sharking it out.
Oh yeah, no, they're on their feet. They're
got shark in text.
Yeah, we demand the sharks.
Hearsay is giving himself a tattoo as we speak of a shark.
I mean, yeah, it's just what you do. All right. So yeah, Leveler is going to be going at Ral, it looks like. Represents onboard card draws.
This one creature has taken out an Atraxa, a Hullbreaker Horror, and a Ral.
Wow. Yeah. Cityscape Leveler turns out pretty good. All right, so the Fable is gonna
second Shark Typhoon.
I want to see sharks into sharks.
It's happening.
Yes, let's go.
Do it. No, don't put it back. Don't put it back.
I want to see sharks on sharks on sharks. Let's do this. Why wait? Let's make it happen.
Okay. No, nobody wants the cycle.
Come on, Nelson, for Twitch chat. Let's go. Let's go.
Chat. Nelson wants the support. Okay, it's happening. It's happening. It's hovering. It's happening. It's selected.
There it is. Yes. Hardcast Shark. Let's go.
We don't have an air horn.
Unfortunately, we don't. You're right.
We have to.
I do have an air horn on my end, but I haven't figured out how to pipe it through the system we're using. Unfortunately, I need to figure that out because yes, moments like this demand an air horn. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Every shitty DJ set.
Right? Yeah. All right. So let's see. They can flip Pelucranos here. They at this point, Zero also has a Cavalier they could throw, which would be fine as well. And again, we're in a situation where they are taking quite a while to make their decision, which the timer hasn't popped up yet. Zero's already up a game. It's probably not going to matter in this match because in this particular, with this mono green list, it's capable of winning games very, very quickly, like shockingly quickly. So the timer's probably not going to be relevant here, but you never know.
So we get the flip Pelucranos. We can equip the boat. Notably, the 3 damage dealt with lifelink also works here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Hydra is piloting the airship that is wielding a spear. This all checks out. I love the flavor of vehicles. Because they make absolutely no sense when you really stop and think about it, and that's okay. All right.
I mean, we have second shark.
Yes. So we have multiple sharks, and there's 3 mana open on Nelson's side for interaction, and that is the disdainful stroke in their hand, correct? So,
yeah, there's a memory deluge, which will be pretty big next turn. Secrets to the city, or whatever the.
Secrets of the key.
Don't think about clues, and a fable of the mirror breaker.
Okay. Yeah. So here comes another.
Okay, we have second Pelucrano.
Fresh Pelucranos. So Zero has an opportunity to present a lot of pressure here. And there's the layer of the Hydra. So new Pelucranos can crew the Sky Sovereign. And they could tap their Nykthos to create quite a bit of mana and pump up the layer of the Hydra into what, a 7/7, I believe?
Layer of the Hydra math is the most stressful math.
It can be.
No matter how confident I am, I'm always just like, okay, don't tap my land. Like it happens to you once where you overestimate by 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's a second
Should
where
just
it's
be
just like auto pay. You don't have
out.
it. Like, oh right, oh man. And then you kind of awkwardly have to, You're giving Shadow Spear to Pelucranos, granting a trample. Although I'll be surprised if the Sky Sovereign doesn't just blast the Fable here. Yeah.
Well, that's what'll happen. This does force a chump. Now, there's the option to animate Mutavault, but it does put you shields down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have to trade here.
Yeah, so you're trading that shark. Zero's gaining 7, going up to 33.
They are going to have the ability now, though, to untap with 2 sharks.
Right.
Which is
and it looks like they're considering flipping
massive.
this Pelucranos just to create the tokens. Which, that's not a bad idea. So now the legend rule is going to come into play. I think you would keep the equipped one. And in proper worm coil fashion. Well, they actually got 2 of each. I did not realize that's how that worked. I would have got that wrong.
How's that?
Oh, because Pelucranos Engine of Ruin is worded, whenever Pelucranos Engine of Ruin or another non-token Hydra you control dies, create a 3/3 green-white Phyrexian Hydra with reach and a 3/3 with lifelink. I didn't realize that actually worked for other Hydras you control. That is wild. And so, yeah, when the one Pelucranos died, that effect was on the battlefield twice. So here we are. Holy cow.
So
that's a lot of value.
The Deluge, obviously giving 2 4/4s, which is pretty massive. They did get Volcanic Spite. And Ham, we were mentioning it earlier, kind of showboaty a bit. Look at what's happening on the top left-hand corner of this match.
Oh, what do we have?
Okay.
Well, the minute and a half. We're in game 2. Or sorry, 11 and a half minutes left on the clock. Yep. Yeah, Zero's timer is visible.
All right, so they finally did the alchemy buff to Fable the Mirror Breaker because it was underpowered. And now when you cast it, creates 2 3/3 sharks.
Okay. It's about
just
time
to make
that
the card playable.
it's about time they buff that one because been long overdue, really. Here comes a fresh Hydra. Yeah, now that we know how this works, this yeah. And there's now a Storm the Festival in addition to the
So if the
Cavalier.
Hydra dies,
Oh man.
and unfortunately, the way the mana's developed right now, being one short again of meaningfully being able to Disdainful Stroke and proactively answering.
Well, at this point, I believe Zero is aware of
It's
that.
just a layer.
Yeah.
Well, Zero's been playing around the Stroke. The Stroke is available information.
Right.
The Volcanic was something that was as of this turn.
And
There's
notable,
also a Sokuzan in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, notably, the layer of the Hydra is a non-token Hydra. So if it dies in this combat, it'll trigger Pelucranos as well. Which is wild.
One thing to note, the Mutavault itself can be activated with the Power Stone. So while
Correct,
unable to
yeah.
cast the spells.
Yeah, and Spite dealing
So
with one of the Reachers and producing
land was
2 more Sharks.
was the draw.
All right.
All right. How are we blocking?
Yeah. So yeah, there's some chump blocks available.
Sharks.
Have to double up on Pelucranos, sure. Yeah, just line up the 3/3s all the way down. Mutavault lines up favorably against the Llanowar Elves. Yeah, I mean, Zero had to swing here. Like, that was I feel like the time had come. But we're at a point now where the Pelucranos is going to die. All the tokens are going to die, and those are not going to replace themselves. But there is the other Pelucranos that's presumably going to flip next turn. So, this will be interesting.
With that, clocks are fairly close. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of runs down.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, yeah, we've got pretty good blocks
Now,
all around.
I don't want to say the only reason. See, chat, when you hard cast the shark, because good things happen.
Oh, yeah.
Win or lose, hard casting the shark.
Hard cast that shark. Well, now Zero needs to be. If I'm down Zero, because you're exactly right, the clocks are very close. If I'm Zero here, I'm at 44 life. Those double sharks are likely gonna bring this home, but it's gonna take a long time. They got a lot of work to do, and you've got reach blockers, and it's gonna flip over. You have life linkers all day here as well. I mean, this is like, well, I don't know. Like, the double sharks are scary, and especially with memory dealers in the bin and the like. We're gonna see a lot of sharks here. So
Disdainful Stroke was drawn for turn.
Okay.
Fable can start copying big sharks.
Yeah, I think Nelson's probably going to win this game.
Because,
but man, looking at the clock,
the problem is, yeah, Nelson was up. Okay, another shark was found.
All right.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
3 Typhoons. Let's go. I see no problem with this. I see absolutely no problem with this.
I mean,
yes. Oh, we wanted hardcast sharks.
Chat wants one thing.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep, and that Disdainful Stroke is presumably the last card in Nelson's hand. Yeah, so Jar Zero is going to bait it out here with the Cavalier. Now, they have a Storm the Festival. They have 2 Storm the Festival, in fact, to follow this up. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
I actually think you let the Cavalier resolve.
I don't know. Probably not. Yeah,
between, like, what beats you?
Well, it's fair
Karn
question.
beats you or Storm? Because Portal to Phyrexia.
Right. Well.
Gotta go quick.
And here comes Karn. Yeah, so both I mean Haywire Might actually is not bad here. Yeah, Portal to Phyrexia at this point isn't really doing much. Although, wait a minute, I think Nelson has an Atraxa in the graveyard though, so never mind, maybe that'd be great. And Zero activating the Shadow Spear here just so that they don't hold priority throughout Nelson's turn. So at this point, both
Negate
players
was drawn for turn.
Yeah, both players are on the 9-minute mark. So Nelson has an advantage here, clearly. But if Zero just holds off and lets Nelson burn their clock, even if Nelson wins this game, they're going to have under 8 minutes to win game 3. So if I'm Zero, I'm passing quickly.
I think this
even if the plays aren't optimal, I'm moving as fast as I possibly can to just preserve my clock so that when the clock runs down, it's not mine that hits Zero first. That's a real that's a very real strategy at this point.
Is likely a clock damage game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all these sharks are going after Karn.
Negate and
yeah, you just let it happen.
Negate and Prismari Command are the cards in hand right now.
Okay. Yep, so here comes another Storm the Festival. Just grip it and rip it. You know, if they have the counter, make them use it. The cool thing about the Storm the Festival at this point, when you have so much mana down, if one gets countered, you can just flash it back later. So, not the end of the world. And again, at 44 life, there's plenty of cushion here.
Manual tapping is not where you need to be right now.
Agreed. All right.
It seems like these Pelucranos, where normally mono green does not have a life gain mechanic, and these Pelucranos have really helped stabilize where the game would largely have been out of reach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so now this Pelucranos being a 5/6 life-linking reacher is pretty fantastic.
There is Prismari, so we could see it blow up the artifact as part of a combat trick.
Yep, that would work here.
Okay, too much time being taken, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Minute difference.
Yeah, Nelson had the clock advantage a moment ago, but they just don't anymore. Yeah. And with all this, they're still at 4 life, so it's not like they can just attack all and roll. But I don't know, keeping 9 back seems a bit excessive.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that this green deck doesn't have haste per se, I wouldn't be as worried about that.
One thing to be mindful of, depending on how the kind of blocks level out, there's a world where you can pump enough mana to layer the Hydra with Trample, perhaps. It does require quite a bit of an investment.
Right.
So we're seeing 2 damage, destroy an artifact.
Yep. Yeah, it takes out the boat, and that is going to take out Pelucranos as well. So that's a clever move. Yeah, game 3, they're going to need to pop off pretty fast. Yeah, Secrets of the Key, draw the cards.
Need to do this. Okay, so make disappear is just going to be used to let it resolve.
Make more bodies, yeah.
I think Darth should just be passing the turn here. All these actions, like, you're dead on board.
Right. Yeah, you know, it's frustrating to see, you know, a game come down to clock, especially, you know, the finals of a tournament like this, but it's a factor. It's part of the game. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to accomplish here.
Because, like, from a block perspective, they're just wasting more of their time, I think, than anything more.
Oh, this is forcing Nelson to make, blocking decisions, which is going to chew up some clock, I suppose. All right. right.
All right. Turn 4 Atraxa, attack.
Yep, that's what it's going to take in game 3 here. And for right now, Nelson, like, yeah, sure, draw the card, but when you like go to your turn, go to combat, attack all, move on. Like you got to just go.
You don't need to. You don't need to activate the mutable. You don't need to do it.
I don't. Yeah. If they send any of that damage at Kiora, I'm gonna pull my hair out. I'm just calling it now. No, full face. Go. There it is. All right. Let's see what's our high score. Yeah, those mutavolts were strictly unnecessary. To be fair, I wasn't bothered. I couldn't be bothered to do that.
Minus 14.
So I can't blame Nelson for that.
There was 3 sharks and lots of spells cast.
Right.
All right, so Hollywood is getting maximum overtime out of his commentators today.
This is fair, yes. Because the matches have been going to time. Yeah. Also, by the way, I do need to give a huge shout out. I haven't done this enough, and I'm sorry, to Carlos, Seafair Jr., and Strider Stone, who came before us. You know, they are a tough act to follow for sure. Definitely some great dudes who did a phenomenal job in the Swiss. So huge shout outs and thank you to them for putting in a nice long day, keeping the commentary alive, and warming y'all up for me and Joe. All right, so here we go. Game 3. Clocks are going to be a factor on this one. That said, so Nelson's deck, it is a super fast combo deck, potentially. If it pops off, we could have a turn 4 Atraxa. I'm also seeing Zero is playing quick, so they see it.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, that Spike Field a turn too late, but it's going to have
late.
So Spike Field draw for hand. We have negate, make disappear. We have the combo in hand.
All right.
Could see a
OGP
shark
coming
typing
in.
cycle. Good to see me.
Here comes Kiora being made to disappear. All right,
Okay,
Fable
we can
on
see
3.
creativity next turn.
Excellent. Well, and Zero has Karn in hand and just drew the Leveler, which is great, but that can only do so much. So here comes the down tick.
Kiora not resolving was kind of big there because they could have had the mana for Stonebrain.
Oh, that was huge, yeah. Exactly. And now if they grab the Stonebrain, they're not going to be able to use it. So there's Portal. Yeah, they're going to grab the Wand. Okay. And they have another Nykthos in hand, so they can do some shenanigans with that. And they also have the Cityscape Leveler, so a lot can happen. So yeah, Nelson might be able to set up an Atraxa, but Zero is probably going to be able to take that, going to be able to respond to it. Yeah, at this point, that Shaman should
see creativity.
Because at this point, Zero doesn't have a kill on the Shaman, so he might as well attack it. Hazard here, sure.
All right. 4 minutes.
All right. 4 minutes. Nelson not casting the creativity there. Let's put Zero in a
Could
little bit
be the option. They want to go double. Recycling.
Yep,
Cavalier.
Into Cavalier. Does it resolve? Yep.
Yeah, negate was the card in hand there,
Gotcha.
as well as Prismari Command, Shark Typhoon, Creativity.
Yeah, so I would imagine Nelson kept up the negate. Ooh, the plus on Karn is going to kill the treasure token. Brilliant, because that makes it a 0/0 creature. No attacks.
So
with
a
OGT.
little bit of a potential punt there.
Potentially.
Where they could have, in response to the Cavalier trigger, knowing they would have spent all their mana, killed the Karn then. So heads up move there. because now this does hamper them where they are. Okay, so if this gets the Hull Breaker, so this does get a Traxa.
Okay.
They get their land, negate Shark Typhoon. Land for turn, they have double negate Fiery Impulse, double Shark Typhoon with a Traxa.
Okay. Yeah,
Leveler!
It is a creature, so that negate's not gonna
That's
work here.
devastating.
Oh my goodness.
That's devastating.
Yep.
And it's exact mana if that was Make Disappear.
Mm-hmm. Would have been perfect.
Again. This looks like the end.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Nelson.
2 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, Cityscape Leveler, I think it's safe to say, has just been the MVP this match. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's done everything it's needed to.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep. So Nelson debating, do I go down to 1 here or do I give up the reflection? None of these scenarios are ideal.
The classic beatdown approach.
Yep. That's the thing about when you're playing these mono green decks, they generate a lot of interesting kind of combo-y value, but at the end of the day, they also just have big creatures that can turn sideways. You know? That's what we have
turn
here.
2/4 trample.
And the other card in Zero's hand is a Karn the Great Creator. So, I mean, that negate can answer that, but I can't imagine Nelson having a chance if they don't deal with his board right here. And with 5 mana back, I mean, what can you do?
The attack trigger, this Fiery Impulse only dealing 3 when there's 4 damage on board.
Mm-hmm.
These negates situationally, they're hoping that the Karn dropped, the wand dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had the answer if it wasn't for the leveler.
Right.
And I think they maybe stabilize. And like we see the Disdainful Stroke, but notably, even with like a Disdainful Stroke, it's a cast trigger on the big boy there.
Yeah.
All right. Minute on the clock.
Yeah, so Zero's gonna
Karn
throw down Karn, which sure that won't resolve, but okay. not a big concern. They might as well throw the wand because why not at this point? No need to activate it. In fact, activating it here would actually be a detriment because you'd be giving them a larger toughness creature. But
all right.
Cool.
2 sharks versus 17 power.
17 power, 12, which has trample. Yeah. It's Yep.
All righty. And we have our winner. Darth Zero, Mono Green's Resurgence.